Hey, Motorman here. We're going to go for a ride today. We're going to do some talking, mainly about a subject that's it's a little strange, but when I did the video about this bike, I got people saying, you should have got an Indian. I actually had people saying, I hate your guts because you didn't buy an Indian. It doesn't make much sense to me, and I take a lot of those things off of the comment section because they're just too ridiculous. But I'm gonna go over a few things with you, and I'm gonna explain why I didn't get an Indian. So here we go. Okay, let's talk about why I bought this motorcycle, this Police Electra Glide, instead of an Indian. Let me make this clear, though. I have nothing against Indian motorcycles. In fact, I'm the guy who did the video on Ride Like a Pro on Your Indian. That was a couple of years ago. It was before the Challenger model came out, but we did have every single model that Indian makes in that video. And of course the techniques are the same for all motorcycles. But that said, so why didn't I buy an Indian? Well, let me tell you this first. If funds were unlimited, not only would I have an Indian, I'd probably have 2 or 3 of them, and I'd probably have about 50 or 60 other motorcycles. In addition, I would have a garage full of different cars as well, everything from Corvettes to Ferraris. I mean, I'm an enthusiast on anything with a motor. But of course, my funds are not unlimited, in spite of what some people may say or think. So I have to make decisions based a lot of times on what I can spend, what my wife will put up with. And yeah, I know you see her on the videos, she's always happy and stuff, but believe it, she can go off every once in a while. So the main reason that I don't buy an Indian motorcycle is because the vast majority of my clientele are on Harley-Davidsons. At my class, people come there. If I've got 10 riders, there's going to be 8 of them on Harley-Davidsons. You might find one on an Indian, and maybe one other on a BMW, or any number of motorcycles. But the vast majority are on Harley-Davidson touring bikes, and they want to see the techniques done on a Harley-Davidson. In addition, we do a lot of stuff with the hog rallies and different rallies around the country, though we don't travel as much as we used to. But we have to keep that in mind when we go to these rallies. 95% of the people are on Harley-Davidsons. What's more, a Harley-Davidson, and you may dispute this, but the heavyweight motorcycles, the cruisers, Harley-Davidson touring bikes are the most maneuverable heavyweight motorcycles made, period. I'm sure that there's a lot of YouTube experts out there who disagree with that, but I've ridden them all, and as far as maneuverability, these are the best. It also happens to fit me very well. Now, yes, I'm 5'7", but I identify as a 6'4" person. That's a joke. But bikes like these Harley-Davidsons seem to fit a very wide variety of riders, and it fits me perfectly. When I got this bike, the new police bikes have the longer bars here, so the first thing I did was adjust them down a couple of inches, and that puts me in the perfect riding position. And of course, I took off the windshield that comes with the police bikes are gigantic, and they block a lot of wind. But here in Florida, when it's 95 degrees, you don't want that. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this windshield is a 5-inch shield from freedomshields.net. It's got a little lip over here which pushes the air, even though it's a short windshield, pushes the air up over my head so I don't get any helmet buffeting. In fact, if you go to freedomshields.net and you tell them I sent you, I think they give you 10% off. They have all kinds of windshields, all different sizes. You can even try them, and if you didn't like it, send it back. He'll send you the size that you want or the type that you want. But with that said, these bikes, Harley-Davidsons, fit me perfectly. They work for exactly what I do. When I'm demonstrating the low-speed maneuvers, I'm doing it on the Harley because they are the most maneuverable. Not that you can't maneuver other bikes. Techniques are always the same. It's just that some are better than others. Now, my favorite Indian motorcycle is the Indian Chief Vintage. In fact, that's on the cover of my Ride Like a Pro on Your Indian video. And I love the looks of that motorcycle. But as far as maneuverability, it's got a 67-inch wheelbase. That's a lot. That's a long motorcycle. Thus, it's not near as maneuverable as this bike, or even as some of the other Indians that have a 65-inch wheelbase. Number two, the nearest Indian dealer to me is about 65 miles away, and it is the worst 65 miles I could possibly ride. Between where I live in St. Pete, where the dealer is, there's 4,272 traffic lights. There's a traffic light every block. It's a 2-hour ride in miserable traffic on US Highway 19. And because it's 95 degrees out, it's a miserable, hot ride. And then there's the cost of the motorcycle. The cheapest Indian that you can buy with a fairing is about $4,000 more than this police bike. Now, yes, they do come with a radio, but if I cared about a radio, I'd probably get a Street Glide. I could care less about a radio or navigation system. I've got helmets with Bluetooth in them so that I could hook my phone to it. And I think I actually get better fidelity with the helmet speakers than you do when riding at 60 or 70 miles an hour on the highway with speakers that are mounted in the fairing. So there's that cost factor. Even the Indian Chieftain, or the Chief Vintage that I like so much, is $2,000 more than this bike. Yeah, $2,000 today. Yeah, it's still a lot of money. And it doesn't come with a fairing. It's got a windshield, which worked pretty good. I would really compare that bike more with my Road King, but I paid several thousand less than $20,000 for my Road King police bike. Now, I'm not sure of what all the other things that you get with the Indians, the ones with the fairing on it. I think you get electric adjustable windshield. That's a convenient thing, but to me it's no big deal. As I said, it's not that I don't like those bikes. They're fine motorcycles. I hope they stay in business forever. Competition is good. I remember when Victory was around, they were making, I think I wrote them around 2009 or 2010. 2009 to 2010 Victory, in my opinion, was a better motorcycle than the Harley-Davidson was at the time. But Harley stepped up to the pump. They made a better bike. That's good for everybody. So thinking about Victory, that's another big reason. Victory was around for quite a few years. They invested, I'm going to guess, over $1 billion in that company. They're making fine motorcycles, but the last 2 years of production, they were actually losing money on them, or breaking even. I'm not sure which. Polaris isn't exactly generous with their actual sales figures. They like to lump them all together with ATVs, etc. But after losing money for a couple of years, they purchased Indian and just shut down Victory. It is gone. You know, if you're the guy who bought a $25,000 Victory Tour on Saturday, and then come Monday you heard about them shutting down production, yeah, I'm betting you're not feeling too good about that. So to me, there's a possibility that they could do the same thing with Indian motorcycle. Polaris has a lot of other ways of making money. Harley doesn't. They just sell motorcycles. But being that Polaris sells ATVs, and I think they even sell snowmobiles, and that three-wheel thing they've got, and the slingshot. They've got all kinds of ways of making money. So if they lose, and they're after, by the way, the exact same buyers as Harley-Davidson with their big touring bikes. They're trying to appeal to younger buyers with the Scout, the different models of that. But let's face it, if they decide that they're not making enough money, or they're losing money and they did so for too long, they could shut it down. And then, think about this, is the current cancel culture that we're in. Now, you just saw the Redskins, who for many years said they'd never change their name. And, you know, it's a funny thing, because I think they did a poll of 90% of Native Americans said they like the name the Redskins. So I don't know who it is that they're trying to appeal to, but they finally cracked. They are now going to change their name. They haven't said what they're going to change it to, but let's face it, it's coming to Indian. They are going to come down on them heavy, and will they fold? I couldn't tell you. I know that they spent big money to get that iconic Indian name and the logo with the Indian head. They won't say how much. That tells me it was a phenomenal amount of money to get those rights. What are they going to call the company if they can no longer use the Indian name? You tell me. So that's something to think about. Now, they might call it the Brand X Motorcycle Company with no logo whatsoever. Would that make the cancel culture happy? I'm sure they wouldn't. It wouldn't. No matter what you do, you can't appease those people. But businesses are trying to do exactly that. I think the Cleveland Indians, they're gonna have to change their name, and the Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's getting absolutely stupid. So what's going to happen if they make them change the name and drop that iconic Indian name and logo? I'm betting their sales will plummet. So those are all the reasons why I don't ride it. They are fine motorcycles. Actually, in some respects, better than this bike. The suspension, or the ride, is much softer. They got I think 4.5 inches of suspension travel front and rear, whereas this bike has 3 inches in the back and 4 inches in the front. So they do ride softer. That's not a big deal for me. I don't find the ride of the Harley objectionable. Yeah, sure, it'd be nice if it rode a little softer, but it's not a big deal. I put maneuverability over a soft ride. But those are all the reasons that I buy Harley-Davidson. So, you know, personally, I could care less what you ride. I think you should ride whatever you like. And I'll ride whatever I like. For the people who put on the comment section that they're never going to watch another one of my videos because I didn't buy an Indian this time. Well, you know, I've got I think 13 or 1400 videos on YouTube. They're all free. If you're going to punish me by not watching any of them, that's your choice. Just like it's my choice to buy whatever I want, it's your choice to buy whatever you want. By the way, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to put a sort of an outtake at the end of this video. It has some humor in it. If humor offends you, stop watching right now. So you got your warning. And I know there's a lot of people out there that they find humor offensive, or they want to be the judge of what's humor and what isn't. So I warn you, don't watch any further. With that said, I'll be back during the week with another video. Take care, keep the shiny side up. Okay, a lot of people think, you know, I made the video about riding during the pandemic and people said I wasn't safe, I wasn't taking this serious. Well, we're having right now a little party at the house here. I've got the entire Ride Like a Pro crew here. I got Marianne Hamilton, and we got Janny, and we got, let's see, oh yeah, that's Tim. Up in the back there, we got Ken. Put your head a little bit closer. He's had a little too much to drink. If you notice, it's not quite a smile. And of course, my wife Donna, and you know that's Donna because, here, she's got, wait a minute, you know that's Donna because she's got the ponytail on the back. So for anybody who thinks I wasn't taking the pandemic, COVID-19 serious, I make sure, if you could see me, you'd know I had one on as well. I've got my mask on. You can hear me very clearly. But yes, we do take this very seriously. And this is a wonderful thing. Remember, you can get these at Publix absolutely free. If you think you look stupid with this, put one of those masks on and look in the mirror.